Hello, sports lovers. In today's episode, we will be having the CEO of Box Office Sports Promotion, Mr. Ntiamoah Boakye, has come to share his experience and the challenges in Ghana boxing with us. So stay glued and you know what to do. You have to subscribe to the channel, press the like button, express your views in the comment section, and also share so others can enjoy. Welcome, Mr. Ntiamoah Boakye.
Thank you very much, Delali.
Okay. What is the state of boxing in Ghana?
It's not easy to describe it in one term, but at least for the past decade, Ghana boxing has seen a steady rise to just some few months, like about 6 months ago or a year ago, that the indicators are showing that there is a decline in Ghana boxing. If I say the past decade, Ghana boxing has seen a steady growth, I'm referring to the time that box office entered the scene about some 15 years ago. 14 years ago precisely. We had finished the Multi Boxing League, and it seems like boxing has taken a nosedive by then, because when the broadcasters, Metro TV, came into the scene, people were enthused with boxing. Every 2 weeks or so there is boxing night on TV. But because these people were commercial people, who knows only the commercial aspect of the whole thing, they were not more or less like promoters who had some vision to project boxing to the next level. But for them, it's a normal business, getting sponsors to come on board, and as a commercial television, they syndicate the sponsorship, and then they give the platform to the promoter, to the boxers to fight each other. But in terms of guiding the boxers and all that stuff, that's the work of a promoter. Promoter grooms boxers, give them the platform, knows who the boxer can beat or not, when and where, when the boxer is ready to win against boxer A or B, and that's what the promoters do. It's more or less like a business strategy. You know when to invest, when not to invest. So after the Multi Boxing League, boxing took a nosedive because the broadcasters left the scene of boxing, and by then the competition or the challenge was that because the broadcasters has got a TV, they can go out there to syndicate sponsorship or sponsors to come on board to get the money to do the promotions. But when they went off the scene, the promoters has lost interest in promotions because they were not able to compete with the broadcasters. Because when you go to sponsor is not a charity person. They want mileage, they want something in return, they want return on investment. You need to give something in return. And by then the promoters were not able to have something as a bargaining power except the boxers that they had. But the Multi Boxing League, which was one of the program for Metro TV. Metro TV were able to, by then it's OMP, Optimum Media Marketing or something. They were the people behind it, and they were able to syndicate the sponsorship. So they didn't work with the promoters hand in hand. You know, the norm is in boxing terrain, you have the TV, you have the promoters, and then you have the boxers. So the TV syndicate for the sponsorship for the promoters, and the promoters do the promotions for the boxers to fight. And when the boxers fight, trainers and clubs all benefit from it. But that aspect was not there, that coordination was not there. So it was like Metro TV and its marketing partners or its wing OMP had that promotion, which was Martin Boxing League, and after that, promoters were not able to compete and they were out of the system. So it took a very It took some time that other promoters were able to come on the scene, and it was when Box Office came onto the scene. We started small, and gradually we were able to build upon, and then other promoters started coming onto the scene. By then, before the Martin League, we knew about Ambition Promotions, we know about Sika Prize, we know about some other promoters on the show. So after Box Office, and then we saw Golden Mike Promotions, then we saw other promotions springing up all the time, and so on and so forth. But today, we have another big broadcaster on the scene, and they have a boxing league like the Martin League, and some of us, our concern is the boxers that are being promoted on that program are up and coming boxers, and it's a very good thing for us to get support for up and coming boxers. But what do you make out of the ones that are established? How do you work hand in hand with the promoters to promote those people? Because at the end of the day, it's going to take a very long time before you build these guys up. And if the promoters are not able, the broadcasters are not able to sustain the program, maybe 1, 2, 3 years, and they are out of the system, how are you going to carry on this guys? And for me, I think the leadership has not played their role well. The reason why I say so is that we have a lot of promoters in the system. We have Ambitions Promotions, of which the founder Alhaji Tofik is on the board. We have Golden Mike Promotions, of which the promoter is also a board member of the GBA. We have Fight Ready, who is John Mafu, also a board member of the Ghana Boxing Authority. I believe they are the people who are supposed to, spearhead the core for the GBA to work hand in hand with the promoters, as well as the IMAS Media Promotions, IMAS Media. What I believe is you have the IMAS Media to be broadcasters, broadcasting partners, and the people that control the marketing and the right on the content, the promotions, the right on the content, and then the marketers, and then the TV partners. Working with the promoters with those days that have been reserved, like the 20 days in a year, so that we can have, even if you want to have a league, the league can be under the elite promotions, so that it can be run. And at the end of the day, you are building boxes. At the same time, you are strengthening promoters. At the same time, it's like you are strengthening the ecosystem of boxing. Promoters will have their regular promotions going. Boxers will also be fighting, irrespective of his class, whether up and coming or high level fighter.
Okay. So what you want to say is that what you mean is that promoters should remain promoters, while broadcasters remain broadcasters, administrators remain administrators.
That's it.
Boxers remain boxers. Yes. Managers remain managers.
Yes. Once in a while, some people, we've seen some boxers when even they are active fighting as boxers, they do also manage some other boxers because they want to give them some certain leverage to also be on the scene. More also, we have some boxers, whilst they are active too, they are also part of the promotions. I've seen MP Promotions, Money Pacquiao Promotions, Mayweather Promotions. When it was Golden Boy Promotions, was after that one was after when Oscar has gone off the scene, but later on he came with 1 or 2 boxers and he fought under Golden Boy Promotions. So for that, no issue about that. But when you go other jurisdiction, there is something there to protect everybody, especially the promoters, because you can't have a broadcaster being given a license to promote. You can't do that, because the promoters are the people who have the boxes, and they do know the terrain of promotions. And so the broadcasters partner the promoters, and the promoters do their promotions. So it's more or less like the promoters control the event, the broadcasters take the media production, and then they go look for money and bring it. That is how it works.
But is there any law in Ghana boxing that bars a media company from acquiring a promotional company?
There is no law that bar a media company getting a promotional license, but we have in the GBA constitution that the GBA is there to safeguard every stakeholder. So if I'm bringing something that in the interest of boxing, it won't be good, the GBA has the powers to talk about it and see how best they can work around it. You could see there are some fights that the boxers are not number 1 and number 2, or they are not even on the top level. But when it's in the interest of boxing, a sanctioning body mandates those fights to get the how do you call it, the privilege over some other people who are in the ratings. Let's assume Tyson Fury wanting to go on retirement. Soon after Tyson Fury comes, still the belt is there. There is a rules that you cannot hold two titles at the same time by most of the sanctioning bodies. But we have seen boxers who have, like Gervonta Davis. He fought for the lightweight and then super lightweight for the WBA, and he took all the 2 titles. He was having all those
against Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, he was having the title concurrently, but he was given some time to
just recently. Triple G is a unified champion at middleweight.
Yes,
but went to super middleweight.
No, light heavy.
No, super middleweight and fought Canelo for the
for Canelo, and Canelo too was champion at super middleweight, and he went to light heavy. He lost, but he didn't lose his titles. It's an exception because he's in the interest of boxing. When you talk about the marketing aspect of the whole thing, he holds some marketing power. So that is how it's done. So yes, there is no law, but to safeguard, because there is a clause in the constitution that says the GBA is to safeguard every stakeholder in the group. So if you have let's say if today I have $2 million and I have come and I say I'm taking all the dates, all the weekend dates of the year to promote, I don't think it's in the best interest of boxing for the GBA to allow me to take all the days within the year to promote. The reason is very simple. I'm one entity. If today I crash and all other promoters are out of the system, you crash boxing. Even HBO, which has seen a lot of big promotions over the years, HBO, pay-per-view, and all that stuff. Some years back, they have stopped boxing. So it's the same way a broadcaster may come, and if you give him all the benefit to gain, privileges. Or the privileges to gain. Today, let me ask. Now, today, GBA has partnered with a broadcaster and has issued license to the broadcaster as a promoter. We saw what happened the last time in terms of the chaos at the place. There were no security arrangements in place for that fight. Whose fault? Is he ICONZ Media? Is he the Ghana Boxing Authority? If ICONZ Media is the media group is the promoters, why didn't they put in some security arrangements? If it happens to be another promoter, would the GBA not sanction that promotional outfit for not making sure there is a security arrangement? And who has to check those things? I quite remember several times when I'm to put out promotions there, especially local rivalry fights. The GBA will call me to make sure they know my security arrangements, and they make sure they see evidences, maybe letters and all that stuff. They even write to support me to the police and other security agencies that they think they will need to support the promotion. So today, GBA is there to regulate. And if he's partnering a promotional outfit or a broadcaster to promote, at the end of the day and the rules are flouted, how will the GBA enforce its rules? There is no way it can enforce its rules. And that is one thing that is taking boxing downwards. It has made boxing going. Now, if you are observing within the terrain of Africa, Namibia, Nigeria, and Tanzania are coming up. The pace that Ghana boxing was at a certain level, now it has dropped because of for me, I think it's leadership issue because of this deluxe boxing thing. It's more or less like the GBA, especially the president of the GBA, is more keen on that. And so even when you are a promoter and you have a date, I have some proofs that if you want, I can give it to you, whereby promoters, I have this privilege because I happen to be the president of the Promoters Association. So people, my members report to me what has happened. People have got dates secured with the GBA, but because IMAS Media changed their dates, they have little issues to change their league schedule. GBA wrote to the promoters that they need to change their date. And for boxing, you need to have contract with boxers. You pay for venue, logistics, and all that stuff. And you sign contracts to those effect. So if you have this date and and you've been notified that you should change the date, it disrupts everything. And it doesn't give you peace of mind. So even if you have sponsors on board and these kind of letters come to you, they might not be happy working with you because they know your events are not certain in terms of dates, and it affects it very seriously. So for me, these are some of the things that I believe that the GBA should look at it again, and mass media also should, put their ears on the ground and listen to feedbacks and come together to work with promoters, because there are a lot of good fights out there that will make their their network more popular and more bigger. They will grow more bigger audience in terms of numbers of eyeballs that will watch, because the promoters can pull it and have all the best boxing out there.
So let's leave the boxing league for now. But what was the motivation for your letter to the Ministry of Sports and the National Sports Authority?
It was just a copy of a letter that I sent to the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority. Ghana Boxing Administration has got constitution that guides it. And with regards to that constitution, it's specified clearly that the day-to-day administration of the Ghana Boxing Authority should be in the hands of the Secretary General.
Okay. But speaking of the Constitution, I heard the PRO of the Ghana Boxing Authority or Communication Director, Honorable Mohammed Amin Lamte, say that the Constitution is not signed, so that does not validate the Constitution. So you can conclude on those two.
Okay, let me ask this. A Constitution that has not been signed, a Constitution that is not a working Constitution, can it elect executive members? So where does the executive members derive their powers from? What letter appointed Amel Lamte as the PRO for GBA? It was, there were letters that went round to appoint people, and it specified in the letter that in accordance with section A, or B, or C of the Constitution, we therefore have accepted unanimously on the board to have you as a PRO. So which Constitution are they referring to? If the GBA Constitution is not a working Constitution, how can it appoint leaders? Then the executive board are not members of the GB. They are not the executive members of the GB because the constitution is not in work. It's not void. But let me tell you, to correct that misconception, when people want to do wrong things, they always find a way to say things wrongly. Because in 2013, boxing, the boxing fraternity were agitating in the times of Mr. Samuel Captain. By then, the regulations that we have for sports in Ghana, LI 1088, it's part of the SMCD 54 of 1976, which is the sports regulations. The LI 1088, it's that LI that set up the Ghana Boxing Authority. So it says that there shall be a body to be called Ghana Boxing Authority, which shall see the administration of professional boxing in Ghana. It shall have executives as chairman, vice chairman, and so on and so forth. So that LI 1088 was the law that gave the being of the Ghana Boxing Authority by then. At a point in time, because there was some issues with Ghana Olympic Committee when BT Baba was contested by Professor Dodo. BT Baba lost the election to Professor Dodo based on the elections. And the elections as BT Baba challenged the results of the election, that there was a lot of political interference. So it was like BT Baba wrote to the International Olympic Committee protesting against it, that there was a lot of government interference. And so the International Olympic Committee gave Ghana ultimatum that they need to change their laws to be in line with the International Charter of the Olympic Committee. And if not so, they will bar Ghana from every International Olympic Committee activities. So quickly, Parliament has to sit together, and the Minister of Youth and Sports, Umado, by then, they came together and then they reviewed the LI, and they repealed the old LI was repealed, and the new one was promulgated. The new one is the LI 1988. In that LI, there is nothing like the establishment of the Ghana Boxing Authority, and the new LI, the old LI, has only the sports minister who can form a sports association, and he has the power to appoint through the National Sports Authority the leaders of various sports associations. But the new LI has it that a group of people, or maybe a person who is interested in a particular sport, can come together to form a sports association. And every sports association should have a constitution which shall guide the sports association, and it should be in line with the international norm of that particular sport. So based on that, the GBA in 2013 went to Congress at the press center at the Accra Sports Stadium, and we had a drafted constitution by then, but it was tabled before Congress. It was deliberated and adopted and accepted by Congress. So once that constitution was adopted and accepted by Congress, it's a working constitution. And based on that, we have had three successful electoral congresses, elective congresses, with the Kutenipe being the third person. Journeys had 2 terms, and Kutenipe has come to take up. So based on what constitution used to go to Congress and all that stuff. So there are publications that I can send copies to you to see. and to verify that somebody. And you know, when we went to the last Congress that elected Kutenikwe as Abraham Kutenikwe as the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, we had a constitution already working, but there were little amendments because Ntiamoah was the MC on that Congress.
I remember very well.
Yes, and he requested that he wanted to be part of the delegates because though he's a licensee, but his category being the MC or the ring announcer, he has no any of the
voting rights.
Yes, he has no voting right, and he's not part of any of the member associations because we have promoters association, we have boxers association, we have veteran boxers, we have referees and judges, we have the coaches, the trainers association, and all that stuff. But for his category, he doesn't have, he's not part of any of the various associations. So he requested that Congress admit him to be a delegate, and it was unanimously agreed, and so it was allowed for him to be to vote. More so, I even saw something in the Constitution that we have agreed the last Congress that before the last one that elected Kutenikwe, there was this Commonwealth champions to be having a voting right, but we didn't agree on that, and so I made a point of call. I called the attention of the Congress, and it was accepted that it was not part of it, so it has to be removed from the Constitution. So we have a working Constitution, and after that the elections was held, and when Kutenikwe won and other members were elected, they swore to protect the Constitution. So which Constitution were they swearing to protect?
Okay. Before I ask you about the Constitution, you were talking about the president running the affairs, or that was why you wrote the letter. Is there maybe the president deemed the general secretary not to be competent enough, so he would take over the affairs of the Ghana Boxing Authority in the interest of all?
So we have a constitution that is a guiding document for the administration of boxing in Ghana, and if there is a secretary general who is not competent, the president has to table it before his board to discuss about it, because the secretary general is not competent, and what he has done or what he has not done to make him competent to be tabled before the board, and the board can discuss, and then they have to report it to the National Sports Authority, because per the GBA Constitution, the Secretary General must come from the National Sports Authority as a full paid employee from the National Sports Authority, and they do that in consultation with the GBA board. So they have to report to the National Sports Authority that the Secretary General is incompetent, so he need to be replaced, and then we can have another person to replace him. But the president cannot take it upon himself to run the day-to-day affairs. The reason is very simple. The board members of the Ghana Boxing Authority, and for that matter, the president, their job is a voluntary job. So how can you take a job which is a voluntary job to run it from 8 in the morning and close at 5? Where would you be able to feed yourself? It's open doors for corruption and all that stuff. So I don't think it's the best thing to be done. And moreover, the Secretary General is a full-time paid employee of the National Sports Authority. So he's somebody that is being paid by the National Sports Authority, and he can run the day-to-day affairs of the association.
So is that to suggest that the president is on a salary as at the moment?
Nobody knows, because as a stakeholder, I have the right to know, because we need to make those decisions at Congress. And it's only Congress, because the Constitution has said it clear that the board cannot change decision of Congress. So if there is some decision of Congress that the board needs to change, they has to bring it to Congress to discuss, and if Congress accepted it to be changed, it's fair enough, then we can move forward. Today, if we go to Congress and the president is able to lobby people that he wants the constitution to be amended for the president to be the one running the day-to-day affairs of the GBA, nobody can question it, and I don't have any right even to question it.
It seems that the Promoters Association's issue with the current president, who is Abraham Boakye, it seems it's personal, especially with regards to you. In the boxing circle, I know for a fact that before the elections, some of the operations were carried through you. Guidelines were from you and how he should run a few things in order to get him elected. Now, you being a kingmaker, it seems that when the king came to power, the king has pushed you aside, and now you are forming a rebel group to make Ghana boxing ungovernable for Ntiamoah and his administration.
That is not true. I can't call myself a kingmaker. We have friends and we have people when we want to have some power or position, we go to them and talk to them to support us. That does not make them the kingmakers, but at least they can give us some guidelines to go through, and then, because it's not true only my effort, there were a lot of people who supported him for him to be elected, and I respect him for his position. Even at the earliest time that he was elected, there were some people who were not who were members of the opposition team. They started writing some letters that the Congress was not nationalistic in nature, this and that. They petitioned the National Sports Authority and all that stuff. If you may know or you may have some relationship with the former Secretary General Patrick Johnson, you can ask him. He asked some advice from me, and I sat him down and I put the Constitution down, and I explained a lot of things to him that he can use to back his right up to the National Sports Authority against those letters that were written for calling for fresh elections, because the elections was not nationalistic. Congress is the highest decision-making body of the Ghana Boxing Authority, and therefore whatever Congress say is final. These people were part and parcel of the Congress that we went for when we went to Congress. They were part and parcel of the whole process. There was a roll call, and after that we voted. If they had issues, they should have raised their issues there, that there are certain people who has been disenfranchised, and therefore the Congress is not nationalistic. They even had an opportunity to even go to court to seek for an injunction onto the election, because they felt that there were some people who were disenfranchised, and the court could grant them that request or relief, so that things can go on. But if you allowed it and you were part of the process, you voted, and at the end of the day your candidate has lost, there is no way you can petition for fresh election. And so I did this to sustain Ntiamoah. Secondly, my issue with Ntiamoah is not personal, but the way he is going about with his administration. There is a guiding document, which is the Constitution, which says that the president, we have had many presidents even before we had the Constitution. At the time when the Constitution was not in force, even those who were appointed by the ministry or the National Sports Authority, in the likes of Nikwe Mensah, Mosiswa Moeni, Samuel Katan, those people were people who headed the GB administration, but they did not take over the secretariat and run the day-to-day affairs of the place. and by the prescription of the role of the president, he has no mandate to be the head of the secretariat or run the day-to-day affairs. And even there is a law requirement that guided the drafting of the constitution when it was drafted in 2013 and was tabled before Congress and adopted and accepted, that by requirement, every sports association or every sports authority that will be registered with the National Sports Authority should have a constitution. Their constitution must be in line with the international bodies that they are affiliated to. Ghana is affiliated, GBA is affiliated to Commonwealth Boxing Commission. And the Commonwealth Boxing Commission, GBA is a director, all GBA president is a director to Commonwealth Boxing Commission. And Commonwealth, by their rules, it states it clear that the Secretary General, the Honorary Secretary, and for them, and the Deputy Honorary Secretary are the people that run the day-to-day administration of the association. The same with British Boxing Board of Control. When you go to British Nigerian Boxing Board of Control and other jurisdictions, it's the Secretary Generals that run the day. They are not typist secretary. They are Secretary General. They are head of administration that run the day-to-day affairs of the commissions.
Okay. It is also alleged that this whole issue started at La Palm Royal Beach at the Ace Power promotion event where you requested for a title. There was an altercation between you and the president. I was there, I witnessed it.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the trouble.
For me, I don't know what trouble I have for Ibrahim Kute or for that matter, the GBA. And you know me that I'm a boxing promoter since I had my first boxing promotional license in the year 2008. Prior to that, I had my license as a manager, as a licensee of the Ghana Boxing Authority in the year 2002, which is now 20 years. When Anyetela fought Alex Ali Baba, Anyetela was a friend of mine, and by then he had issues with his management. They thought he couldn't do anything for himself, so they forgot about him. But I quite remember that this matchmaker, Rashid Williams, believer, he brought a contract that Anyetela was afraid of Alex Baba, so if he's not afraid, he should sign the contract and all that stuff. And Anyete, being my friend, asked me, let's go through the contract and see, and read it to me and see if everything is fine so that we can sign this contract. And I went through it and I read everything for him, and we thought everything was fine. And so we discussed about money issues and all that stuff. I negotiated for him, and then when we finished, I signed the contract. And what Believer told me was that the contract cannot be valid because I'm not a licensed manager. So if I want it to be valid, I should go and pay for my license and get a license so that it validates the contract. And that is when I went to the GBA by then at the National Sports Stadium. Was it Elete? No. By then it was Justice Agbuko or Chawi, one of these Secretary Generals. I went there and paid for my license. He asked me a few questions. What about the weights of the boxing and all that stuff? And I was able to pass, and I paid for my license, and they gave me 3-4 days, and I went to pick my license. So 20 years in my career as a licensee of the Ghana Boxing Authority. Before 2008, I registered as a promoter. I was licensed as a promoter. I have some of my people that I do work with. The head of my events. We had a discussion, management discussion, and he told me that some of them, not only him alone, told me that because of the level that box office has reached, he thought that some of the fights that are not at certain competitive level, we should take those fights out and have another promotional outfit promote those fights to prepare the up and coming fighters when they are due for some standard, then move to box office. So you are working with people, and the people also has brought an idea to make the work more effective and all that stuff. So they also want to be part, own that promotional company. I say, no problem. You can go ahead and register. I have my experience then, and I can use my experience to help you as a consultant on your promotion. That is when S3 was birthed. And so one of the programs, Ojura Festival Boxing Program, by then I've signed with some consultancy company for about 5 years for us to run Ojura. And box office has got, I got some deal with Probellum, which requires that I work only with Probellum and no other other promotional outfit or any other people. So I said, okay, this is an opportunity for S3 also to grow. So I went to the consultants and I discussed with them that I want these people to take over the promotions in terms of the name. But when it comes to consultancy, I'll be doing everything for them if they will agree. And they say, oh, no problem. As far as everything is going to be fine, we are okay with it. We are not bothered with the names and all that stuff. So quickly we started working. S3 started working on it. I'm the consultant. I give them the guidelines, everything, letters that need to be written to the GB. I do all those things and follow up for them. We paid for sanction fee for title for it to be promoted at Ojura last year. And by then the title, we had only two. One we could not find its whereabouts. One is with John Lai. And I had to call its manager and make sure I get the title because we also want to use it. And by then, Dr. Oli was with fighting Success Tete on the Ace Power Promotions bill at Lapam. So I told the second vice, Roger Bando, that I've gotten the title. Once Oli is also fighting, I want him to take to Ace Power people so that Oli can use the title on the night. So that, and the next day is when we are having the Ojura Festival. So after the fight, when the winner is crowned with the title, then I can have the title also the next day to use it. So initially we had the title for a face-off for the weigh-in, and I gave it to Roger Bando to be sent to Lapam for the fight. On the fight night, Oli won the fight, and so he has the opportunity to have the title, to go elsewhere with the title, to celebrate with the title, and GBA has no business even to confiscate the title on that night. So I have discussed already with the promoter, the operations manager of East Power Promotion in the person of Isaac Amankwa. I discussed with him that, okay, I'm going to look for the title and bring it over for your boy so that it can be he can be crowned if he wins the title, or whoever wins the belt can be crowned. But I have a show the next day, so I will beg the winner to give it to me so that we can also go and use it, because it was two title fights, UBO and national title. And so fine, I went to the place and I was there. When the fight finished, I called one of my workers to go and to talk to Isaac to get the title for us. My guy returned to me and said the GBA president said the title is not going anywhere. And I went to him and I said, President, we have a fight. It has been sanctioned, approved for the title. And you say the title is not going. He say a new promotional outfit cannot have a title fight. I say, oh, when we wrote the letters, we are aware of that. So you can refer to the letter. The letter has it that the promotion is being done in association with Ambition Boxing Promotions. And Ambition Boxing Promotion is already in the system. So what is the big deal about it? So the title is not going anywhere.
Okay, before you continue, is there a law or a regulation stating that a new promotional company can't have a title?
That is what has been said for over the time, but I've not seen it anywhere in the regulation.
Because MVP promotion, I stand to be corrected. MVP promotion is for Jake Paul.
Yeah.
The YouTuber 10 boxer. He held a title fight for Amanda Serrano.
Was he his first promotion?
It was his first promotion.
Yes, so it's different from the jurisdiction. You understand? Yes. But Ghana, that is what they say. But the rationale behind it that, and even not a title fight, a new promoter needs to be collaborating with an existing promoter to show him the terrain. That is what the convention was. But it's not even in the rules and regulations book. I've gone through it and I've not seen it.
Okay, so hold on. That brings me to this point. Sorry, I'll keep interjecting. Mm-hmm. This is a conversation. If it's so, did IMAX promotion do their first collaboration with any other promotion?
No, because it wasn't a title fight.
It wasn't a title.
It was their first show. There was no title fight on it.
Okay.
So at least they have done it before they started some title fight. So that one. But even it's not in the rules book. The green book, I've been reading it even before all this. Before we went into how do you call it? Democratic dispensation of the Ghana Boxing Authority. So I know about it, and it's just a convention. It's not part of the rules and regulations, you know. But what I'm saying is, at least the president knew that the people who are to promote that fight, S3 people are not new people, though the promotion is a new promotional company, but they are not new people. They know everything about boxing, and even in writing the letters, we indicated in the letter that it's being run together with Ambition Boxing Promotions. And so, what is the rationale behind confiscating the title from us? And I didn't quarrel with anybody. There was this guy Gideon who was taking the title away, and I went to hold the title, and there was some chaos there. At the end of the day, they had an intention. I have a voice recording from Amin Lamte. I didn't record it. It was a voice note that is sent to me on some issue that if I had known what the GB had wanted to do by then, when I had that problem, I should have thanked him because they were planning to ban me. And it was what some of the members of the board told me that Kotenikwe had wanted to do. And so some of them even called me earlier that I shouldn't challenge anything, I should be submissive. Because I know the law there, I should have said that they should show me any of the law that says a new promoter cannot promote. And I could have stood my grounds that I had no quarrels with anybody, so I'm not guilty of anything. But because they saw the intention of the president, they called me and they told me to calm down, and I was there. I couldn't say anything. They said we discussed everything, and I came out. They wanted to have the decision, and he was pushing for that decision. How do you call it? For me to be banned, for box office to be banned. And at the end of the day, the people say, no, you can't do that if you ban box office. Especially J. Annan said, that is the report that I had. J. Annan said that, no, you can't ban box office. If you do that, it's more or less like you want to bring disruption to Ghana boxing because we don't see anything. And even at the meeting, J. Annan asked a question, which was downplayed by one of the members. He asked, these are sitting of arbitration or whatever, or disciplinary action or whatever it is. What was the root cause of the whole thing? as the as S3 as the title been sanctioned for S3? If yes, what was the reason of preventing them from having the title? And one of the members came up and downplayed that question. And so they say they have fined me. After the fine, I didn't say anything.
How much were you? How much were you fined?
Initially, they say about 5,000, and even I don't know who gave the information to the public. It was the president who gave them the information to the public. And you know me, I've been into these things for a long time. So even they push some journalists to start calling me of my opinion. And I know if there is a story out there and you keep on explaining yourself, it travels wide. So I kept quiet when they say, I say, oh, I have no comment on it, and it died. Later on, I don't know who spoke to Azuma Nelson on that, and he also came out with a suggestion that I should be penalized more than the 5,000 that I was given, and this and that and all that stuff. I didn't say anything about it. Within a short time, the story died. I pleaded that I want the money to be reduced for me, and it was reduced to 3,000. Even wanting to pay with check, the president said, no, I cannot pay with check. I said, okay, I want to pay part. I'll pay with post-dated check, maybe 2 post-dated checks, 1,000, 5,000, 5, so that at the end of the day, when because if I give you a check and it doesn't go through, it's criminal. You can charge me for that. He said, no way. He had wanted to do whatever, because I've told him, I went to him and I told him that you cannot be the head of the secretariat, because by constitution you are not the person to be there. And he didn't want me to say the truth to him. And so it was it has been about a year now that I advised him verbally, and so I have no option than to write him to confirm my verbal advice to him. And you cannot just wake up and jump to court if somebody is not doing the right thing. You need to at least remind the person that what you are doing is not the right thing. You need to rectify it. If not, then I'll be compelled to go to court. So that is what I did. I wrote to him that within 14 days he should be able to rectify the anomaly. If not, I'll be compelled to go to court to seek the court to nullify every decision of the board, because the board is not constituted well. We have to, how do you call it? The constitution has it that you can only have a maximum of 2 co-opted members. But today the GBA board has 6 co-opted members, which is 4 more than what's supposed to be done. When you come to the administration of the GBA, the secretariat has to have the Secretary General to be the head of the Secretariat and run the day-to-day affairs. Now is the, how do you call it, the president running the day-to-day affairs. And my fear is this: if tomorrow some other person becomes GBA president and he takes the GBA Secretariat to North, and he say he wants to run the day-to-day affairs from Northern region or Savannah region, how are we going to do it?
Okay. But boxing can be run from other regions.
Yeah, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if somebody take it to his own house and he say, okay, I'm the president, I want to run the day-to-day affairs of the president.
Let's say somebody can say, I've moved it from the boxing arena to my house.
Yes, because I'm the president, so I want to run. And everything you say, I'm the president. I'm the president. I don't know if he's the president of the republic or whatever.
So, you brought up S3. So there was a promoters meeting prior to the constitutional that was being scheduled. I remember you were not in the country, you were in Tanzania by then.
Yeah.
But the press statement issued by the GBA had your name in saying your 2 IC, I can't remember offered, but it stated that your 2IC, who is S3 Promotions, has reported has reported Kote Nikwe to the Jamestown police station, and it's all under your influence. How true is that too?
Sometimes I don't know why people try to malign. In this country, when somebody is doing well, and you might be at a distance and you might think the person is doing too well. But when you get closer to the person, you may not know the challenges the person is going through. Just that we try to make things happen to make sure the boxers that trains in the gym, who, if they don't have the life of being boxers, they might end up in the street being some social vices and all that stuff. So some of us, we've taken it upon ourselves to make it happen by any means necessary legally for these boxers to have fights to fight. And so some people thought that we are very successful, we are making some millions out of boxing. So whenever they see our names, and they are jealous of it and they want to tarnish it by any means necessary. If there is a stakeholder meeting and there is a constitution that the stakeholders believe that things are not going right, don't they have the right to speak their mind or to have voice in saying something? They have it. By then, I've gone to Tanzania with Afre Lamte and his trainer for us we are concentrating on the fight over there. Why would I instigate somebody to report the person? What happened? The president threatened the person. He threatened him.
Did the president brandish a gun? It was alleged that the president brandished a gun.
The president, threatened him verbally, but there is this allegation out there that there was some issue of gun between the president in the past with his close friend, and the person died. Also, there was this allegation out there that somebody was threatened by the president on phone, and within a short time the person died. And even the Benjamin Nikwe guy, he told me when I told the president that he's not supposed to partition the GBA office to have his own office there, because the GBA constitution stipulates that the Secretary General runs the day-to-day affairs, and he should be the person to head the secretariat and not the president. He wasn't happy with it, and he told the guy that for him, anybody that want to be an impediment for his administration or whatever he want to do with the GBA, the person should be prepared to travel very far. If not, the person should be ready to face the consequences. If you have heard these kind of things from somebody, and the person threaten you verbally, will you be sitting down? And I don't have the power over the person to tell him not to go and report or whatever. But I was not part of it. So why would they put my name box office over my company name box office over there?
Let's wrap up with the GBA. What has been your overall assessment of this GBA administration, objectively?
This GBA could have been the best administration that we could have ever had, because of getting a media company who is willing to come on board to support boxing, because they have seen things within a certain frame of time that boxing is a marketable commodity that they can use it to, market their station and also get sponsors to come on board. And for me, I think if the administrators have the boxing at heart rather than their own parochial interest, they should have engaged the promoters and managers right from the onset when the broadcasters came into the scene. It was reported that, if you could remember, it was reported that ICONZ Media has brought $1.7 million to sponsor boxing. Did they come in as a sponsor, or now they are here as promoters? If they are promoters and they want to come on the scene, do the GBA need to partner the promoters before they can promote? No. So why is the GBA partnering ICONZ media to promote. And that is some of the issues that we had the last time, because there was no security arrangement and there was chaos at the place. Till today, nobody can be penalized, and even shifting the penalty on the trainer on the trainer is inappropriate, because even he was not called to the discipline committee to interrogate him, for him to also say something of his side. And the issue is based on security. There was no police, and so who is the organizer? Who is the promoter?
Okay. That is a big question for the GBA and ICONZ media or ICONZ promotion.
Let me tell you, with my information, the ICONZ media people were people who are well-meaning organizations that want to help boxing in Ghana, and their interest is to get the content on their station and also to get their sponsors to come on board so that they can do their business. What prevents the GBA to call out the promoters, to sit down with them and the ICONZ media and say, okay, we have promoters in the system, work hand in hand with the promoters, let's share the dates for the promoters to promote, for you to cover and also have your right on the content. It helps everybody, and promote all boxers, irrespective of their level, they can fight and we can have good fight. And promoters are the people who knows how to do it best. They can groom boxers, and we will be able to have more world champions in the future.
Okay. Assets, apart from the first occasion, all the everybody who comes to the arena does not pay gate fee. But today's event, I have seen the advertisement of gate fee. I don't know if you are aware of that.
For me, I don't think boxers should fight for free. But when you have the sponsors that can pay and you can bring people to come and see it for free, that one I don't think is any problem. But you need to regulate it in the way that there should be some sanity within the arena. And you know, some of us who have invested our own personal money into boxing and have made sure that boxing is a sport that the environment is safe for people to come, because we are looking at attracting a certain level of people to come and watch boxing, so that promoters can make money, boxers can make more money and all that stuff. We had sacrificed to bring in the best security that we can get it out there, to protect the image of boxing in Ghana in terms of security. Today, what has happened, or the last time what happened, has made it very doubtful for people, especially a certain section of people who thinks boxing is not safe for them to come and watch in person. It has cast some doubts over security issues, and it will be very hard for us to rebuild the confidence that we have built in people that boxing is safe. I've had a number of local rivalry fights, and the fights happened and there was no security issues, like, you know, there will be some minor issues around, but to the extent of the chaos that happened the last time, you will never see some happening.
Okay. Let's wrap up. Mr. Alex, you have not been doing a promotion for a very long time now. When is your next promotion?
I had my promotions on March 6th this year. I'll be having a promotion on 24th of December.
But before then, you had some specific days, 6th March, I think Republic Day, then Boxing Day. Those days are days on which you often have promotions. But this year, it seems the Republic Day or May Day, you did not have a promotion.
Actually, it's all about finances. You need to go out there to the market, and you know the economic situation and all that stuff. And My promotion, the quality of promotions and the level of promotions requires some good investment into it. So basically, you need to shift other things. Moreover, I happen to be the Secretary General for Greater Accra Amateur Boxing. We had some of the programs this year. I'm looking also to develop boxing from, the regional level, of which I'm also supporting and investing over there. So, it all boils down to funding issue. But like I said, I'm working on something, and then by December 24, we can have some good fight. But before then, 18, which is next week, we're having some small show in collaboration with Savvy Blue Promotions and Bronze Boxing Promotions.
Okay. So where would this event take place?
It will take place at the Zone Beach Resort, which is closer to Oceanic Beach Resort.
Okay. So, any other thing you would like to add?
What I'm saying is, personally, I do not have any personal issue with the GBA president, but as a gatekeeper of boxing, of which I've invested into it very long time, I believe we have a working document, which is the constitution that governs the Ghana Boxing Authority. And for him being guided by the Ghana Boxing Authority's constitution, it will be the best for everybody as a boxing lovers and boxing stakeholders. So that is what I'm enforcing, and nothing more and nothing less.
Okay. Thank you for talking to Best Sports TV. We appreciate your time. I think we've done over an hour, and I'm so grateful for your time.
Thank you very
so
much.
Always remember that there is no limits to greatness. Always stay positive in whatever you do. And au revoir. Bye-bye.